The state's Attorney General's office and WVUE News 8 go undercover. Find out how sweet deals turn sour when visitors get caught in the tourist trap. A News 8 special report this week at 5 and 10.
Downtown, and at some point they usually end up on Canal Street looking for souvenirs.
But some Canal Street merchants, being called by some as tourist traps, are allegedly ripping off those visitors. We'll have that and more in a special report.
I'll show you why our early season warm spell is about to end.
Well, one more Louisiana college team makes it in the NCAA tournament, and we'll have LSU UNO baseball highlights.
These stories and much more as News 8 at 10 continues.
Normally on Wednesday nights, we bring you our Making the Grade reports, but because of a special investigative report airing in tonight's newscast, we won't be able to bring you our next Making the Grade until next Wednesday night.
And speaking of that special investigative report, some international tourists say their trips to some Canal Street camera shops have left a bitter taste in their mouths.
Many claim they've fallen into a tourist trap. News 8's Monica Pierre continues her special report tonight. And Monica, just what types of complaints from those foreign visitors are we talking about when we talk about the tourist trap?
Well, Warren and Margaret, we are talking about basically 4 electronic stores in a 2-block area on Canal Street. And most of the complaints are from foreign tourists who claim they were charged too much or bought items that did not work as promised by salesmen. So News 8 went undercover to find out if foreign visitors are being caught in a tourist trap.
We sent WVUE executive producer John Armand to a local bank to pick up $1,000 in traveler's checks. He brought the checks back to WVUE, where Steve Watsky of the Louisiana Attorney General's office logged the serial numbers, just in case we needed the numbers later. Watsky and Armand then mapped out what would happen next.
In your back pocket, we're going to place a small tape recorder.
Right.
You've got 3 or 4 wallets of traveler's checks, which are
Right.
brimming with traveler's checks. Let them do all the selling to you.
Which we have to be very careful.
Very careful of entrapment. We don't want to get into an entrapment situation.
A short time later, we headed to Canal Gift Shop Incorporated, also known as Canal Video Camera. John, posing as a well-to-do Australian businessman, entered the store. A salesman who identified himself only as Zippy asked if John needed help. Our Mark said he was just browsing. He circled the store, and when he got near the same salesman, Zippy again asked if he needed help. John said he was looking for a camcorder battery for his brother. Zippy showed John a battery and a camera lens, and within a matter of minutes, dropped the price on the lens from $1,299 to $199. The battery's price dropped from $189 to $95. John said he'd think about it and tried to leave. Another man who identified himself as the store manager followed John out of the store, urging him to come back inside and buy the items. After several tries, John promised to come back later and walked off. About half an hour later, our Mark re-entered the Canal Gift Shop. He told Zippy he'd look around for a few minutes. The salesman followed him around the store, offering 50% off Walkmans and a deal on sunglasses. He then suggested a long-range cordless telephone.
And the new telephone for the car, you don't need to be paying every month like cellular phone, $150 to $200. This you hook it up, this is a cordless telephone for the house. And this you hook it in the house, and this piece with you in the car. 330 kilometers you can take out. And then you can make 330 kilometers from the base. You can make any phone call anywhere in the world.
Zippy said several times the phone would go 330 kilometers. That's about 205 miles. John suggested another phone that he discussed with the Attorney General's office because of previous complaints about that phone. But Zippy said it was not as good as the one he was trying to sell, saying the phone John was looking at would only go 200 kilometers. Zippy then started telling John about the deal he would give him.
This telephone, normally we had it on sale. Its smart price is $19.95, $2,000. We have it on sale now for $13.95, everything. And it comes with Hey, Case, look what I'm gonna do for you. Give me $1,000 right now for the telephone. Right now, I'll give you a brand new one, $1,000. And I'll give you tax-free too.
John agrees with the price, heads toward the counter, gestures toward the man who said he was the manager, and asks,
Is he gonna let you sell it for $1,000? I did it. He told me. He told you to? All right.
When our mark gets to the counter, he puts down his $1,000 in traveler's checks, only to find it's not enough.
I need $90 more for the tax. $90. Yeah, I don't have that. That's all I got with me right now. I'm gonna let it go now with the tax.
John takes his long-range cordless telephone, now wrapped in a brown paper bag, and leaves the store. As he walks out, the owner who rang up the order at the counter gives the salesman a thumbs up. Then after a quick conversation, Zippy runs out of the store, apparently to watch where John is headed. He talks to the owner and after a few seconds, apparently follows John. An undercover agent from the State Attorney General's office keeps an eye on the salesman. When we got back to WVUE, Watsky opened our package to take a look at what $1,000 got us. After charging the phone overnight, we got an electronics expert, Richard Bagnetto, to test the equipment. The salesman repeatedly said that the range is 330 kilometers. Is that possible? Can a regular cordless phone have that much range?
Well, certainly not. Most cordless phones have a range somewhere between 300 and 1,000 feet. You do a very average telephone can go roughly 1 city block and still have adequate range, especially if you're inside of a house.
We even tested the phone on a spectrum analyzer, a piece of equipment for measuring broadcast power. That substantiated Bagnetto's report. Then we compared the Como 555 with a cordless phone that sells for under $100. The $100 phone outperformed the $1,000 phone by a slight distance.
And in fact, I think this one's a little better because it's louder. You can hear a lot better with this phone.
And after we tested the cordless phone and verified it did not live up to the claim made by the salesman, we went back the next day to the store. And tomorrow night we will show you what happened when we confront the owners.
Quite a story.
All right, Monica. Coming up in sports, a Louisiana team wins its way into the NCAA basketball tournament.
Ron Swoboda is going to have that and a look at UNO LSU highlights when WVUE's News 8 Tonight continues.
Some foreign visitors claim they've been lured into more of her special report. And Monica, last night you showed us the undercover part of the investigation. What do we have tonight?
Well, tonight, Margaret, we're going to continue and show you what happened when we confronted the owners of one electronics store on Canal Street.
Last night, we showed you how WVUE executive producer John Armand, posing as an Australian, fell into the tourist trap. John bought a long-range cordless phone for $1,000 after the salesman dropped the price from nearly $2,000. After extensive testing, News 8 discovered the 330-kilometer phone would only transmit a short distance. The salesman made a point of emphasizing how the phone would work up to 330 kilometers or 205 miles.
330 kilometers you can take out. And then you can make 330 kilometers from the base. You can make any phone call anywhere in the world.
In reality, the phone's range is a maximum of 1,000 feet.
This type of phone, it's a low-power, remote base type situation. And you're dealing mainly with something like on the order of 300 to 1,000 feet. Roughly 1 city block of range.
Not 330.
No way, no way.
So John returned to Canal Gift Shop, also known as Canal Video Camera, once again as an Australian tourist. When he entered the store, John approached a man who had told him he was the manager the day before. But on this day, he said he was not the manager and pointed to another man behind the counter. That man, in turn, told John to talk to the salesman, Zippy, who had sold him a long-range cordless phone the day before. John told Zippy he had followed the directions, but the phone just would not work as promised.
The electronic device here is going to cut automatically. What do you mean? Here, because this is only for overseas.
At that point, another salesman named Joe entered the picture and backed up Zippy's claim.
This way going to work it.
He was trying to work it here.
No. In America, they have special devices. Where are you from?
Australia. How do they do that?
Okay. In America, we're not allowed to sell it because of many cellular companies will go out of business. We cannot sell this in America. It's for export only.
Fine, you mean it'll work in Australia, but it won't work here?
You know, in America, over 200 meters is a special satellite device that cuts off the frequencies from the base to handset.
I think that's ridiculous. This is a consumer low-power device. It's designed for very short distance communication without a cord. It doesn't have enough power to reach a satellite.
That's when our cameras entered, and suddenly the salesman changed his tune.
This will go 200 meters.
John identified himself
From Channel 8.
and Winston Riddick, the executive assistant to the State Attorney General, Billy Gust. Riddick and 3 of his assistants were in the store watching the entire exchange between John and the 2 salesmen.
Engaging in unfair and deceptive trade practices. The notice basically tells them that we believe that they may have violated the Unfair Trade Practices Act of the state of Louisiana. If you are engaged in any of these activities identified below here, you cease and desist from them.
One of Riddick's assistants asked about store records.
We're interested in seeing documents that would reflect the price that you normally sell this phone for.
We also confronted the co-owner, John Salas, about the inability of the phone to perform as promised.
We ran this phone through a spectrum analyzer at work. It doesn't go more than about 150 feet, and that's it.
Well, if the phone doesn't work, we give you the money back with the men. We don't make the phone.
But, sir, don't you think it's unfair to sell something based upon a certain claim and it doesn't work? You're alleging 330 kilometers, and that's not the case.
We do not allege. I've got you guys on tape yesterday saying that...
Yesterday I wasn't working, so I know nothing about it.
Zippy over there said it would go 330 kilometers.
Zippy? Did you tell them? We have you on tape saying that. But as we have said, it is technically impossible for the phone to work as promised. The store owners refused to talk further, but their attorney did speak with us. We showed A.D. Freeman the Como 555 and asked him about the salesman's claim that this phone has a range of 330 kilometers.
I've never seen one before, but I see it now, and I see it's the same one that is, I don't know whether the manufacturer of Como is deliberately misleading. I don't know. I'm no expert on telephones.
Freeman says his clients are stunned by the State Attorney General's notice.
They haven't been sued by anybody. They haven't been convicted of anything. They haven't even really been investigated. This is just a warning, and the effect of that warning, the legal effect of that warning, is very doubtful. All I have today is 2 complaints from the Attorney General, which have been satisfied. Both took place in December 90.
But lawsuits may be just around the corner. This is the complaint file on Canal Gift Shop, also known as Canal Video Camera. It's from the Better Business Bureau, and there are 40 separate complaints here.
I would not doubt that there is a thick file. I would not doubt that my clients have some complaints against them. I say to you that my clients, when they receive a complaint, if it's legitimate, have done everything they could to make it right with the customer.
The file from the BBB is full of complaints from foreign tourists who say Canal Video Camera does not respond to complaints. And we should also point out that after we entered the store with our cameras rolling, the owner did offer to give John back the $1,000 used to buy the cordless phone. But we also want to show what the store's policy is concerning refunds. This is John's receipt, and at the bottom of it, it clearly states no cash refunds, 5-day exchanges, and all merchandise guaranteed by a manufacturer. And Margaret, tomorrow night we're going to look at prices at this store.
All right, Monica, we'll be watching for that. The owner of the now-defunct Champion Insurance Company admitted he skimmed money from the company and said he used it to bribe State Insurance Commissioner Doug Green. All this week, News 8 has been looking into high prices and high-pressure sales techniques at some Canal Street electronics stores. News 8's Monica Pierre has more on the tourist trap.
Well, Margaret, we have done some comparison pricing and found the prices at some Canal Street electronic shops are a whole lot higher than normal. When WVUE News 8 learned that more than 100 foreign visitors had complained about 4 electronic shops on Canal Street,
we decided to find out if they were falling into a tourist trap. News 8's executive producer John Armand went undercover at one of the stores, Canal Video Camera. John posed as an Australian on his way out of the city. A salesman named Zippy sold John a cordless phone he claimed has a range of 330 kilometers, or about 205 miles. We had WVUE engineer Richard Bagnetto test the phone.
You're dealing mainly with something like on the order of 300 to 1,000 feet, roughly one city block of range.
Not 330.
No way, no way.
In pitching the phone, Zippy told John he had a sweet deal for him.
This telephone, normally we had it on sale. Its marked price is $19.95, $2,000. Give me $1,000 right now for the telephone. Right now, I'll give you the regular one, $1,000. And I'll give you tax free.
The next day, John returns to Canal Video Camera to tell the manager the $1,000 phone does not live up to his claim. Also in the store at that time were members of the State Attorney General's office. Executive Assistant Attorney General Winston Riddick put the owners on notice that they may have been engaging in deceptive and unfair trade practices, a violation of state law.
You are engaged in any of these activities identified below here, you cease and desist from them.
The owners did not want to talk to us about the Attorney General's notice, but their attorney has. A.D. Freeman says his clients have been successful businessmen on Canal Street for 30 years. He says a surprise visit by the AG's office and the role of News 8 cameras stems from jealous Canal Street competitors.
The less successful of our neighbors are trying to set us up, and they have been for years. I've had this problem before. Just never had it with the Attorney General before.
But the Attorney General says it has heard a lot of complaints from foreign visitors about the prices at Canal Video Camera. Even on the day Winston Riddick put the owners on notice, some French customers told us they had concerns about what things cost at Canal Video Camera.
Well, we really bothered about the prices because they're different everywhere. So we wonder, you know.
Did you find the prices here extremely high?
Well, if we bargain, they come lower.
Those people like to haggle. And my people and all of their competitors give the tourists the opportunity. Now, if you think that's wrong, then it's wrong.
Do your clients deliberately mark up the price so that the international visitor can haggle to get a lower price?
The ticket price on the merchandise is set at a level so that the customer and the salesman can discount it by talking to each other.
So it's an inflated price, then they can come down on it and haggle and...
It can be reduced, that's right.
But is it an inflated price?
Well, inflated, it's not inflated in the sense that it's probably the same price as all the other competitors have.
News 8 called around to compare the prices at Canal Video Camera to other stores in other parts of town. The marked price of fisheye lens at Canal Video Camera is $1,299.99. A similar lens retails for $129.95. A camcorder battery at Canal Video Camera has a marked price of $189.99. A similar battery lists for $89.95. A Norelco model FS80 steamer iron at Canal Video Camera has a price tag of $99.99. A similar one retails at $29.95. A Sony 8mm video head cleaner that Canal Video Camera lists at $69.99 has a retail of $16.95 for a similar cleaner. And a 49mm UV filter for a camera is marked at $39.99 at Canal Video Camera. A similar filter retails at $10.99. Under the state's unfair trade practices, merchants cannot inflate prices. Sellers cannot misrepresent the usual and customary selling price. Store owners cannot deceive buyers into believing they're getting bargains when they have intentionally inflated the retail price. When asked about the huge differences in prices, Freeman again referred to his client's Canal Street competitors.
Did you call the boys on Canal Street, Casa Angelo, the cameraman?
So you're saying that on Canal Street the prices...
No, I'm saying that when you have a neighbor next door who's selling the same merchandise, you have got to accommodate to his way of doing business and still be honest about it.
When Executive Assistant Attorney General Winston Riddick put Canal Video Camera on notice for a possible violation of the state's Unfair Trade Act, it was not the only one. 3 other stores in a 2-block area received the same notice. Here, too, foreign visitors complained of being charged too much for items, as well as complaints that merchandise did not live up to claims made by salesmen. Since that time, New York Camera Incorporated and Photo Sound Incorporated have agreed to comply with the Attorney General's office. Those stores say they were not aware that they were in violation of state law.
There are still many unanswered questions about how these stores in question are allowed to conduct business this way. Next week, we will try to answer a few of those questions. And, Margaret, we want to again point out this is no reflection upon many of the honest shopkeepers located on Canal Street.
And that's important because there are
And
many,
they really
many
try
of
to
those.
work well with the tourists and make them happy.
Okay, Monica. Coming up in sports, St. Aug will try to stop Cohen's All-American in high school basketball, and LSU is stop cold up in Nashville. Ron is next with sports as WVUE News 8 Tonight continues.
Are infected, but they don't want to admit that they're infected. And usually it means that you take child home, and only at home do you realize that your child is ill.
Hey, good evening, Ron. Carver